All right, let's get right into it. So I'm hitting it with a black prime. I'm using Createx Autoborn sealers, the only sealer I will ever use. I used to use Vallejo's primers, but with those I noticed whenever I had to sand something down after I prime, it would peel slightly. And I noticed with the Autoborn sealers, whenever I had to sand something down after I prime, it wouldn't peel, it would sand down nice. So with that, this is the only primer I will ever use is Createx Autoborn sealer. And they got it in black, gray, even blue, red, whatever color you need, they got it. I'm going to with some cheap tan craft paints. This is Anita's. Do not sleep on craft paints. Craft paints work wonders when painting. Whether it's base coating, dry brushing, because they're not heavy in pigment. So if you need some of that transparency, craft paints is your best friend. And I even see some guys that paint with just craft paints alone, and they come out with some amazing stuff. So you really don't even need the more expensive paints to get good results. I added some khaki. I wanted to change the tone up a little bit. Just wasn't feeling that tan I was using. And that's by Apple Barrel again, craft paint. And like I said, don't sleep on craft paints, man. Right here I got some dark stone, and I thinned down my paints with golden airbrush medium. I either thin it down when I'm brushing it on and or when I'm airbrushing. In my opinion, I feel like it helps keep the pigments more suspended. It don't separate as much, do all that coagulating or whatever it does when it's just water or just too much thinner. So I'm going on with that dark stone. And I'm not being too careful because we're gonna add a whole bunch of washes and weather this thing up. But I'm just making sure that you see the separation between the stone and the gravel. Golden airbrush medium. Try it. I promise you won't regret it. I did not catch on camera, but I did a black oil wash. I actually got a video I plan on doing with just oil washes. I barely even use acrylic washes no more. Oil washes is my go-to when it comes to doing washes. I love oil washes. I got some dry rust effects by Army Painter, and I just thinned that down with some of that golden airbrush medium, and I'm slapping it on a rebar. And I'm not trying to be too careful here. I just want to get it nice and orange because I'm gonna weather it up and add different tones to it. Adding some more of that rust on the rebar that's peeking through on the base, and some pipes on the back hit with that dry rust too. And again, I'm not being too careful here because this base you see is pipes and dirt and rock. You know, everything is just all fucked up. So we're not even trying to be too careful. We just want everything to have its own color so everything can be separated. Here goes some khaki Apple Barrel craft paints. Don't sleep on the craft paints. Using that to get some dry brushing done to bring up some highlights. And it's going to be a lot of back and forth on this. A lot of back and forth. So again, I forgot to record me putting the oil wash together, but this is a brown oil wash. The base on the left has the wash on it. This one on the right, you about to see me slap that thing on. And again, I rarely use acrylic washes unless it's for something small, because with the oil wash you can slap it on, you can forget about it, because the mineral spirits, if you need it, if it dries, you can take the mineral spirits and lift it right back up again. And again, I'm gonna do a video just on oil washes, and I'm making sure I just get that thing everywhere, man. And the oil washes, when you wipe it off, it also helps with the gradients too, and then you don't have to worry about coffee stains like with acrylic wash. I mean, acrylic washes have their place, but for me, oil washes is, I love oil washes. I think the only time I don't use oil washes is when I'm doing portraits. Whenever I'm doing skin tones, I don't do oil washes for skin tones. So this is what it looked like after the brown oil wash. You see how it added some more tone, a little bit more depth to it. And I'm taking my microfiber cloth and just peeling back a lot of that. Most of that you just want, you know, in the cracks and recess areas. And I got a little makeup sponge that I want to bring them highlights out more in specific spots. So this is the base that Invincible stands on, and on both of these bases for Invincible and Omni, they both say Invincible on it, but that one I already put some aluminum and some yellow Tamiya on there. And I love Tamiya paints because they cover so well. This was an acrylic paint, I would have been doing like 50 layers already. I went in there with some grim black speed paint for some shadowing, and I love speed paint specifically when I'm doing shadowing. Going in again with some more black oil wash to weather up all that yellow and that aluminum. And like I said before, it's a lot of back and forth. This is a grimy, torn up, messed up base, so we're not even worrying about being pretty. We want this thing to look ugly and grimy and nasty. I'm going in with some AK Rush streaks and putting it on the pipes that's on the base, just giving it some different tones. And I'm going in with some Vallejo wash, and this is acrylic wash. Yeah, I don't always use oil wash for everything, but to add some more of that yellow tone to the pipes in the back and the rebar, just to, you know, so everything's not looking the same. So we got auto-born sealer. Like I told you, this is the only primer I ever use, and this is gray, and we getting Invincible all primed up. Hands down, in my opinion, I wouldn't say the best, it's my favorite primer to use. Auto-born sealer. If you want to send me your boys some sealer, go ahead. I got some Pro Acryl yellow, golden yellow, and thinning it down with that golden airbrush medium I was telling you guys about. Spraying the yellow. I think my brush was fucking up a little bit. Got some yellow ochre by Pro Acryl. We're gonna go in with that, thin it down with some golden airbrush medium. And we're gonna hit that in between his abs and them recessed areas. Break that up a little bit and spray it from below. Got some Vallejo liquid mask, and I love liquid mask for little areas and stuff like this, like around the face. A lot of people don't like it, but if you go on thick, it'll peel off nice and easy. Adding some yellow, some more of that golden yellow around. And then we're gonna go up in here with some yellow ochre by Pro Acryl, hit these recessed areas. Add some separation and that muscle definition. And I didn't record me doing the portraits for Omni Man or Invincible, so please bear with me. I will do videos with me doing portraits. Up and coming. We got some videos of doing portraits coming up. Bear with me, bear with me. So we just getting it all up in them recess areas. That yellow orchid. And at first, I wasn't too sure about the Pro Acryls, but after using them shits is nice. So we taking that liquid mask off to see how everything's looking. And when you pull off the liquid mask after you spray, sometimes the paint will be over the mask on the edges, so you have like a little lip. So you'll see here, I'll peel it off, and then I'll kind of like rub the edges to get that little lip that kind of dried over the mask. I got some blue Pro Acryl. We're gonna mix this bad boy up. This time I'm gonna use some Critex, some 4030, and I'm gonna use some of the 4012 thinner. And we're gonna spray the blue on. And I know you probably like, well, I thought you used golden. Well, sometimes I use the Critex system, and I guess we could get to that in another time, but it's kind of like how gold and airbrush medium is, but you kind of manually doing it. Thin it, mixing the 4030 with the thinner to help carry the paint. So we got some sky blue, and I'm just lighting up this blue just to add some highlights to the blue on Invincible. And I wanted the transition nice. I don't want to be too harsh. That's why I use that same blue and added a lighter blue. I want the highlights to be nice and soft, so it's all in the same harmony. And we're doing the same thing to the legs. I had sprayed the legs with some blue, and I'm hitting the highlights on the legs with that original blue that I sprayed, that I mixed up with that sky blue. And it's looking good, nice and crisp. had masked off that yellow with that Vallejo liquid mask, and I'm liking how it was looking. I got some Createx. This is some jet black, and I'm going to use some of that 4030, add a little bit more jet black with some 4012 of the Createx. Spray that on. Nice black, awesome coverage. Createx is actually my favorite paint, and I got quite a few paints, but Createx is my favorite. So on the one side, I start going in with oh shit, we got blue. What am I doing? All right, so I had peeled off the mask, and I'm tightening it up around that yellow where I peeled off that liquid mask with the blue. And I'm just being nice and careful. Alright, so we got some pro acrylic, we got some deep, some dark natural gray, and on the side of his suit we're gonna hit it with some gray. And I want everything black. You want to break things up a little bit, and I think that gray is nice for on the side, because we're gonna add some shadow into that. But if you do everything black, I just thought that the gray would add a nice touch, and because right there where the gray is different texture. So I did catch on camera, we got some black oil paint with some mineral spirits. Mix that together, and that's your oil wash. Now I did it real light because I want to pick up the textures on Invincible suit. So that's why I went in real light, because you see a little textures. I want that oil paint to seep in there without it really darkening the blue too much. And I'm gonna do the same thing all over and on the yellow. You're gonna see. And it just helps picks up them textures ever so slightly. And we're gonna add some of that black oil wash on the top of his suit. And at this moment, this is when I said fuck it, I'm gonna put it on the yellow. Because if you didn't know, as long as your piece is varnished with acrylic varnish, you can go over it with the oil and use mineral spirits to wipe it off, and it won't affect the acrylic varnish. So I threw it on the yellow, and I'm gonna be able to blend it out, and you're gonna see it coming up. It's gonna look like I messed up, but it works out perfectly with the sponge, because with the oils it's nice and soft, and like I said earlier, you can get that gradients with it. I'm also adding some on his head, and it look harsh like a lot of black, but you can go in with some mineral spirits, wipe it off, apply it back on, and you could just work with it. Versus if this was a acrylic wash right here, it kind of would have been stained, and that would have been it. You'd have to go back over a yellow. So I'm taking my sponge, and I'm just trying to figure out how can I blend this out and still keep the black in the recess areas to help show make them abs and the muscles pop. So I'm just taking a makeup brush, I'm swiping, I'm patting, just to get that nice gradient so it could blend out. Same thing on his head, swipe and patting just to get everything to blend out, but still keep some of that shadow, keep them shadow areas dark, and to keep some of that oil in the texture. So I liquid mask his face again. I'm gonna liquid mask around his eyes, because I'm gonna spray his goggles, his glasses, whatever it is he got on. So I'm just be careful, and I'm just painting on the liquid mask as if it was paint. And then I added some silly putty around his face for some overspray. So I'm using Carbon Black by Golden with some UVLS gloss. That's what I sprayed for the base. Then I went in with some Createx, some Quicksilver. And I'm telling you, this Createx Quicksilver is giving Spastics Chrome a run for its money. But I'm spraying out on his goggles. And then I had took everything off. I liked how it looked, but it was too flat. So I didn't want to go in with the liquid mask again. And I was just so ready for this piece to be over with. So I'm going in with some silly putty, and I'm using a sculpting tool and just really pressing up against the edges on them goggles so that I could spray and protect that yellow and his face. But I was just being a little lazy. I didn't want to go in with that liquid mask again because you gotta go in with a couple of layers for it to peel off nice. And I just wanted to just throw in some shadow underneath his goggles. And it's not necessarily being lazy either. I mean, it's 100 ways to skin a cat, and this is 100 another way just to mask something off. So I got this custom like black chrome I had mixed up a while ago, and I'm just gonna go in underneath just to add a little shadow so it wouldn't be just so flat. And I'm calling Invincible done. Definitely tell me what you think about this process, what you want to see, and we got more videos to come. Peace.